Hi VC, Dale Gatefold 33 back again. This is another thread response, one started by Rachel, the TheMusicMAM VC channel, and Rachel got the idea for this thread from another YouTube VC member, which I'm going to have to check, Harry Zlottos. Um, and I'll put the names in the comments. I still haven't worked out how to do links yet, but I'll maybe try and do that as well. And this is about vocal performances, and I've seen a response, certainly at least one response from Richard McCook on this. So I thought I would try and do a response, and I had a number of ideas, and I've settled on one. I may do some of the others, and I might do some of the others as well, but this one is vocal performances but by a single artist. So I'm picking my favourite female artist, Kate Bush, and I'm trying to highlight different vocal performances or styles of performance that she does. It may work, some of it's a little bit tenuous, but we'll see how we go. So the first one I'm going to showcase is the sentimental, gentle side of Kate Bush, and I think that is most strongly shown in this album, and the start of the second side, which for those of you who don't know, and probably everybody does, is a kind of themed side called the Ninth Wave, that tells a story of a woman who is lost at sea, and the search for her and what goes through her mind while she is in the water. And I've mentioned before, and I make no apologies if I talk about Kate Bush. I'm going to talk about seeing her live in 2014, which was one of my kind of life experiences. So she starts. So the Ninth Wave is a set as part of that show, and she starts with a video of her in the water in a with a life ring around her, and sings from the side of the stage and Dream a Sheet before you go into the more theatrical performance of the rest of the Ninth Wave. But this is certainly my top three favourite Kate Bush songs. It's a very short song, but it's just so beautiful, and say gentle and sentimental Kate, as she's reflecting on or just coming to terms with, I guess, being in the water and alone in the dark and not knowing if she's going to be rescued. So that's the first example. I'm doing two examples of 6 styles, so I'm going to be doing 12 songs. What I shouldn't do is put the record over my notes. So I've got the records here. I'm going to have to jumble between them as I go through it. So the second example, equally evocative in my mind, of the gentle, sentimental Kate, is from this album, and it's A Woman's Work, which is a song about womanhood, and I think is around the time it's reflecting of her mother. I can't remember if her mother, it was either about her mother and her mother died shortly afterwards, or something along those lines. But yeah, A Woman's Work again is a really song full of really strong sentiment when you listen to it, and therefore evokes emotions in that way. So that's my second choice. I think I'm finished with that album now. So a few to juggle. The second side, or second style of Kate that I wanted to highlight is the kooky, quirky Kate. So one example of that is on this album. So most of the albums I'll show here are UK originals, apart from this and Ariel, which I didn't get originals of because I wasn't collecting vinyl when they came out, and they were extremely expensive when I did start collecting vinyl. Although Ariel, when I first started collecting vinyl, and it was one of the albums I wanted to get into, it kept going for £50, around the £50 mark on eBay, and I thought that's ridiculous. I was back into vinyl. I'm not paying £50 for an album, but looking back, sort of 7 or 8 years, I wish I had paid £50 for it then, because it shot up to some ridiculous £300-400 mark. But anyway, sorry, that's a digression. So this is not her strongest album, although when I bought the reissue and listened to it, it's still a really strong album and really enjoyable album. It's not my favourite. It will be, if I was doing ranking my Kate Bush studio albums, it would be near the bottom, but it's still a really strong listen when you listen to it as an album. But the kind of big hit off of it was Rubber Band Girl, which is, as I say, the quirky poppy Kate, almost like a pure for single pop song on the album. And it was a reasonable hit. Certainly got a lot of radio play at the time. Was it '93? I think this was out. So that's my first choice as a poppy. The second one comes from the album that vies with Hounds of Love as being my favourite Kate Bush album. I flip between these two. So it's from the album The Dreaming, and this one is There Goes a Tenor, which again, The Dreaming has a lot of weirdness on it, which I'll get onto later. There Goes a Tenor. It was from Dreaming. Yeah, There Goes a Tenor. Was perhaps a kind of more straightforward, quirky Kate pop song of the time. So that's my choice for the quirky poppy Kate, kooky Kate. Next, I'm going for the ethereal, bombastic. Is that the right word? Bombastic, not bombastic. Bombastic Kate. And so the thing that obviously started all it off, I would say, from her first album and her first single, Wuthering Heights. There's nothing stronger than that for that side of Kate, and obviously got her noticed with a bang when she started, and she went on from there, as we all know. So Wuthering Heights is the first choice of that kind, and the second, slightly should we say more understated but equally impressive, is from Ariel, and that's the song Nocturne, a long building track that really evocative track, I think, and so Nocturne is my second choice for that style. Where are we now? We're now into the pop anthem side of Kate, and I've got two for that. So as I said, so the first one is from this album, and I've got a few from this album, which I found a bit strange actually, but so I need to go back and revisit this as an album. So this is Never Forever, and the song that I'm picking there is Babushka, which was a really strong pop anthem with really strong strong hooks in it, and a strong kind of if you like chorus that drove the song. So that's my first choice, and my second choice as a pop anthem, going back to the first side of this album, when I could have picked two or three from this, but I'm picking Cloudbusting from this. Had a bit of a story to it as well. The video was great, but that was certainly a big pop anthem, I think, when it came out. So I'm going for Cloudbusting from the first side of Hounds of Love. Fifth side of Kate is the social message side of Kate, perhaps, and there are two back to back on this album that are pop, were actual strong pop songs at the time, but I think sending a message, Kate sending a message to the world. So there was Army Dreamers and Breathing. And I think that it got mixed reviews, mixed press about who are you pop star, giving these social messages out, particularly the Breathing one. I think everyone thought Kate was gone a bit bonkers, when it came out. If anyone saw her on Top of the Pops with the inside the womb on stage, trying to sort of portray the pollution that life was bringing to unborn children, etc. Certainly that's a message I got from it. I don't know if that was true or not. So that was, I think Kate got a little bit of a mixed reaction from certainly from maybe the press, but not from her fans, obviously. So they're my two for that kind of Kate trying to send a social message. And then finally, I will go for the bonkers Kate. She's done some bonkers songs in her time, so I'm coming back to this one again, actually. So there's a song on here called The Wedding List, where she just loses it. So that's a really kind of like example of bonkers Kate. And then probably the well, for me, the best example is back to this album, and there's probably a couple on here that I could have chosen, but Suspended in Gaffer on here is just fantastic in terms of Kate. Where did you get that from, and how did you come up with that song? I mentioned that I saw, and I should have done some research here, so apologies, I might put something in the comments. I saw Kate obviously live, but prior to that, a few years prior to that, I saw a Kate tribute. It was called Wow, was the sort of stage name, and that was a young woman who kind of looked a bit like the young Kate, and she basically went through all the hits based on the videos that Kate made on stage, and so it was quite a lavish production for a fairly smallish production. So she kind of reenacted the Kate singles with the kind of stage setup of the videos that went alongside them. So that was really interesting. If you kind of squinted, because at the time I didn't know obviously Kate would ever tour again. So I thought I'm never ever going to see Kate Bush, but if I squinted, it could have been Kate, and she was very good. She had a vocal performance and everything, and she'd clearly watched the videos for many, really watched the videos and learned the routines to really mimic the movements of Kate Bush. So that was a really enjoyable thing to see before I saw Kate for real. But the reason I kind of say that is that when Kate did her tour in 2014, she stuck to songs from, predominantly it was Hounds of Love and Ariel, and nothing from her back catalogue, nothing pre-85 at all. So none of the kind of hits were done, for obvious reasons. They didn't fit into the kind of message that she was trying to portray, or the stage performances she was trying to give. But I have kind of had an opportunity to kind of experience that through this Wow tribute. So that's my vocal performances with a specific dedication to Kate Bush. Thanks a lot. Cheers. Bye.